This is the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. We have assembled the world's finest sports and trivia dorks to prove once and for all that we are just as bad at this as we were at sports. Hello, listeners. This is the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, sports trivia for those of us who rode the pine. Welcome to episode 282. I'm your host, Matt, and today's game will be pitting the Benchwarmer team of Mason and Josh versus Benchwarmer Eric Walling and frequent guest, the bench, Mr. Marc Grenier. Welcome back, Marc. How you doing? What's been going on in your world? I heard something about bourbon last night, and
yeah,
maybe too much bourbon last night. And,
a little too much bourbon, too many beers. But it's it's a little, when you turn 50, it's a little bit more difficult in the morning. And this morning was a difficult morning. So yeah, but things have been going pretty well. I've had my youngest daughter is in the volleyball playoffs right now. Friday night they won their quarterfinal match, so they're moving on to semifinals on Wednesday. Had a great season, really. They're 17-1 now, and their only loss was to an undefeated team that's the number one seed in five sets. So
nice.
They have a lot of new players, and she's getting to play a lot. She's starting, so it's been a lot of fun watching them. And my oldest daughter, I was saying, stormed the field last night at South Carolina when they beat Texas A&M. So this fall she has gone to game day and stormed the field. So she's had a heck of a fall so far.
She's living her best life.
She is, yeah. She's loving it. So
I just today organically ran into some people who were wearing some South Carolina gear, and I told them about how we on the podcast enjoy calling it the USC. So a little dig on the Ohio State and the other USC. So
Yep. So yeah, everything's going well though, and that's status quo. Looking forward to playing some trivia with my friend Eric Walling.
And we'll hand him over to him. He can tell us how you've been doing and what your guys' team name is going to be.
Just to illustrate the different stages of life that we were in, I also had a bit of a milder hangover this morning. And my daughter's, one starts like 11-year-old club volleyball here this week. So much for my evenings 3 times a week. And then the oldest went to her first dance, like school dance, on Friday. And I felt tremendously old.
Did you tell them to have even more space
Leave
for the
room
Holy
Jesus.
Spirit? Right? Yeah,
Yep.
there you go.
Yep.
They also don't slow dance anymore at dances.
True. That's very true.
That's what my kids say. Like, who'd you dance with? What are you talking about?
Knowing my daughter, they choreograph something on the fly. So, so Marc and I are a member of a trivia consortium, if you will, for Online Quiz League. And we decided to honor them today as recent fourth chairs that neither of us had good games. We're still going to go and hope that our luck turns in these seats, and we are going to be risky quizness.
All right. We'll send it over to our other team. We have Josh and Mason. I don't know who has the team name, but one of you can start going, and the other one can tell us what the team name is.
I'll go first, as obligatory as it is when I'm teamed up with anyone on this podcast. So I'm doing okay. I'm hoping that Dennis Allen gets fired by tomorrow, because I didn't watch the game. Thankfully, I spent time with family, which was a wise decision because I didn't want to watch us lose to the Panthers for 3 hours. So yeah, I'm just hoping this is the final straw and we just start over. And we have a high draft pick right now, so maybe, I know we have $100 billion in dead cap that we're gonna have to deal with 12 years down the road, as always. But that's how it goes sometimes. But I'm doing fine otherwise.
And Josh?
I'm doing well. I got a package in the mail from one Dobo's Delights.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been enjoying some. I haven't gotten to all the Hungarian pastries yet, but just the Pop-Tarts. They had a pumpkin Pop-Tart, which might just be a seasonal thing. Oh my God, delicious. Like out of this world. But I actually have a blueberry Pop-Tart here and part of a cookie. So I'll be snacking on these while we record. And with that, I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit. This recording typically would have been a Tuesday recording, but the Tuesday recording was set for the 5th of November. And, well, that's election day. So we thought, let's move it. So we moved it to a Sunday. That's why I'm on with Matt, which doesn't happen a lot. But with that kind of goes to what our team name is, that Mason and I and just about everybody on any side of aisles will agree that we are ready for Wednesday.
Awesome. All right, well, we have our teams. We got Risky Quizness and Ready for Wednesday. But before we move on with this game, we're going to need those rules. So let's kick it over to Dan to tell us what the business is.
The game will consist of 4 quarters of play, each with different trivia style. The styles of quarters 1 through 3 will change from show to show, and I will explain them as we go along. Like any good sporting event, we will have a halftime show after the second quarter with entertainment questions. And in the fourth quarter, our teams will wager from their points accumulated to see who are today's clipboard captains, to be honored like the true benchwarmers they are. All right, let's get this game underway.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, so on our last recording, was it Scott did our last recording, 281, I believe it was. Scott talked about how one of our least frequented round styles is fill the gaps. So today's first quarter will be fill the gaps.
Fill the gaps. This quarter will consist of 3 questions with up to 5 pieces of missing information. The teams will attempt to fill in each piece of missing information. Each answer is worth 10 points.
Yeah, so we found that there was a total of 13 instances before that game the other night where fill the gaps had been used, and 3 of them were used on fast break games. So only 10 games had a fill the gaps in it. So I just figured, you know what? It's time to bring that back. So here we go. Question number 1 and fill the gaps. The 1980 Winter Olympic Games are known mostly for the miracle on ice, but there was another American who accomplished the unthinkable in those Olympics. Blank from blank, named the state, was a 21-year-old blank, named the sport that person competed in, who won blank gold medals. He won more gold medals than blank within 5 countries at those Olympics. So what we're looking for is the name of the athlete, the state they were from, the sport they competed in, the number of gold medals they won, and then within a range of 5, the number of countries that they won more gold medals than at the 1980 Olympics.
We're going to check in.
All right. Ready for Wednesday? You guys want to talk out for another 45 seconds or so?
I was telling Mason that I'm pretty sure this is Eric Hayden from Wisconsin, a speed skater, and that he won 5 gold medals. So I feel good with those 4. I wouldn't have a clue as to know how many countries he had more gold medals than. I don't even have a good grasp on how many countries are in any given Winter Olympics. I know it's smaller than the Summer Olympics, but or you said 20. That gives us what?
Yeah,
15 to 25.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many compete in the Winter Olympics. I imagine it's obviously much smaller than summer. So, and it's gold.
I mean, it very well could be higher than that too, though. Possibly.
Right. That's the problem, because I imagine there's probably not very many countries that had more than 5 golds. If you want to up the number, that's fine. 20 was just a number that popped in my head, but I don't have any reason why.
I don't know. If we said 35, that would give us 30 to 40.
30 to 40. Do you think that's how many countries would have competed? Because it's going to be probably pretty close to the number of countries that are there besides the US and maybe a couple.
Should we just say 35 and just move on? Sure, I don't really have a good
fine.
clue. So
that's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
And we'll check in with 35 for the last fill the gap, which is a crapshoot.
Sure. And Risky Quizness, what did you guys have for those answers?
We also had Eric Hayden speed skating 5. Neither of us knew where he's from because we're not from the upper Midwest. Eric Walling just threw out Minnesota. I was like, yeah. I mean, if you ask me where a speed skater might be from, Minnesota. So that's what we said. And similar to you guys, we're not totally sure how many countries there were at the Winter Olympics, especially in 1980. And the world map was a little bit different than now. We did go a little higher than you. We figured maybe there was like 100 countries. And similarly, I was messaging Walling. I'm like, there can't be more than 5 to 10 countries that won 5 gold medals. There's just not that many events, and USA, USSR, Canada, Norway, maybe Japan had 5 golds. So we ended up guessing 90 for the number of countries.
All right, well, both teams are getting points. Unfortunately, Risky Quizness only getting 30 points on that one. But ready for Wednesday, you guys nailed all 5 of them. Eric Hayden from Wisconsin, speed skater, won 5 gold medals, and you nailed it, Josh. 35 was the number of countries.
Wow, nice job.
It's impressive.
Hayden ranked number 46 on ESPN's Sports Century 50 Greatest Athletes of the 20th Century in 1999, the only speed skater to make the list. In 2000, a Dutch newspaper called him the greatest skater of all time.
It is pretty impressive to win 5 different disciplines in speed skating. Like, nobody does that anymore. You know, you have sprinters and distance people, you know, like it's to win 5 is crazy.
The morning of his last competition, he overslept. So he ran down to the cafeteria, grabbed some toast, and then went off and won the gold medal and broke the gold medal record, or broke the world record, I should say, by like 5 seconds or some ridiculous number. With and it was a distance too. It was like a 5,000 meters or something. It was like a long one. It wasn't like a sprint. And so, I mean, dude, all you had was toast in your belly, and you went up.
So apparently, toast is the magic food.
There you go. Yes, there you go.
All right, athletes, everybody, before your next competition, toast.
There you go. All right, we're going to move on to question number 2 here and fill the gaps. Question number 2. In 1986, Blank was 46 years old, and commentators said he was washed up. Yet he won another PGA major with a one-stroke victory in the Blank tournament, setting the current record for the most PGA major victories at Blank, 3 ahead of Blank, and 7 ahead of Blank.
We're going to check in, Matt.
All right. Risky Quizness is checked in, ready for Wednesday. You guys can chat it out.
Okay, well, we feel good about the first 4. So Nicholas won the 86 Masters. He has 18, I'm pretty sure, because I remember that number when Tiger was on his way trying to chase it. And that was the magic number he was trying to get to. And so he's second. The question is, who has 11? And of the names that we have so far, I like Ben Hogan the best, but I just don't know if he has 11.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, I keep him Gary Player stuck in my head, but I don't even think he got to 10. It's just going to be one of those older guys when there weren't that many players and he's dominating.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I just don't know if it's going to be Ben Hogan or you had Bobby Jones as in one. That's another possibility.
He was a guy like in the 20s, 30s, like just smoking everybody. Yeah, I like Hogan the best. At least it gives us a good shot because I feel like he's up there enough that he might have 11.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. So we're going to check in with Nicholas, Masters, 18, Tiger Woods, and Ben Hogan.
Okay. And Risky Quizness, what are the 5 that you guys are checking in with?
It sounds like we had the identical conversation because we came up with the same exact names. The first 3, 4 really right away. Nicholas, Masters, 18. And then threw the same names around. I was thinking Player has like probably less than 10. Like he had a ton of Masters and a ton of British, and then I think he won like once in each of the other ones. So the name we felt most comfortable with was Hogan, and so that's what we also went with for the last blank.
All right. Well, you guys were all right with Jack Nicklaus, the Masters in 1986. 18 is what he has. Number 2 behind him with 15 is Tiger Woods, but number 11 on that list is Walter Hagen, not Hogan. So everyone got 4 on that one.
He of cheap golf apparel.
I thought about his name too.
And definitely not he of being spoken of by political people at rallies. So
he certainly is not a who, but I don't think I would have pulled a Walter Hagen from anywhere.
All right, moving on to question number 3 here and fill the gaps in quarter number 1. It was February 2nd of 2002, and Super Bowl 36 featured blank versus blank at the blank stadium, with the score tied blank to blank, and just 7 seconds left to go. Blank kicked a 48-yard field goal to win the game. So basically, I'm looking for the two teams that played in Super Bowl 36 in 2002. The name of the stadium that they were playing in, what the score was tied at, and who kicked the field goal to win the game.
Matt, we can check in.
All right. Risky Quizness can checked in. Ready for Wednesday. You guys can talk it out.
Well, it was obvious already. You didn't have to check in so quickly with that. I already knew this was the Pats Rams Super Bowl, and I know for a fact this was at the Superdome.
Okay.
And I'm almost certain that I'm like 99% sure the score was 2017. So that means the score would have been tied at 17 when Vinatieri kicked his game-winning field goal.
That works for me.
The only thing is the score, but for some reason 20-17 sticks out in my head for the score of that.
I don't really have a gauge on the final score, but if you have an inkling on it, I say we go with it.
That's just I might be remembering it wrong. It could be 24-21 or something, but I remember it being lower scoring. So
yeah, I'd say go with it.
Okay, so we'll go with Patriots, Rams, Superdome, 17, and Vinatieri.
All right, and Risky Quizness?
Oh, you want me to talk about Eric? Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. One of the greatest days in any fan's life. Yep. Patriots, Rams, losing in a Superdome. Yeah, Ty Law interception return. David Patton had a touchdown catch. Vinatieri kicked another field goal. It was 17-3 going either late
those
third
the answers
quarter.
you're checking in with? Tyler,
No.
not one of the questions I asked.
Talking about one of the greatest days of my life, Matt.
Is this we're gonna like name this episode as unnecessary information from Marc? Is that what we're doing?
That's what we're here for. Yeah, 17 all. And Adam Vinatieri, American hero, kicked a field goal after John Madden told American hero Tom Brady to kneel on the ball, and he threw to somehow didn't fumble. I think it was Leonard Little, maybe, like almost sacked him, and then he like dumped it off to J.R. Redmond, and somehow got like J.R. Redmond, who was terrible, got like 20 yards, and then getting choked up. Yeah, Troy Brown had a catch, and then Vinatieri kicked the field goal. So yes, thank you, Matt.
So I wrote this. I knew I was going to write about this one before I knew that you were the guest. So as soon as I was like, oh, well, there's a little softball there for one of our guests, but that's fine. All right, you guys nailed all five of them. It was the Patriots Rams with the Superdome 17-17 and Adam Vinatieri.
So 4 of the 5 of us on this recording have had the best day of their life. I'm still waiting.
Walling's had like all kinds of them. I mean, he's got so many teams.
I know. I got one every year.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have 13 teams. Yeah, exactly. Several. All right, so after the first quarter, we have 120 points for Risky Quizness and just 20 points ahead of them, ready for Wednesday with 140.
We wanted to let you know that we are on Patreon if you'd be interested in supporting us financially. Your contributions will be used to help us cover the costs that it takes to bring you the high-quality sports trivia you have come to expect from us. There's also some great perks that come with the Patreon membership to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, including bonus episodes and Benchwarmers swag. You can find us at patreon.com/benchwarmerstp. Thanks.
And that'll take us to today's second quarter because it feels like there's just not enough attention. So today's second quarter will be fill more gaps.
Oh my God.
Okay, Scott.
I thought it was going to be Dean's list.
Fill the gaps. This quarter will consist of 3 questions with up to 5 pieces of missing information. The teams will attempt to fill in each piece of missing information. Each answer is worth 10 points.
If this is going to be 3/4 of this,
It could be halftime too. Just watch
Insert
this
Marcus.
God, he's laughing. That is what it's going to be. Say.
How many gaps do we have to fill here? I feel like
I already dislike this quarter
Yeah.
for it being once in a game, let alone 2 or 3 times.
That supercut of Marcus noises was brilliant. And
Well, that's right. You're going to need him here
Oh my
for
God.
this. Be a bunch of.
So I knew I was going to do this a while back, and then Josh, when you signed up for this game, I was like, he's going to hate this, and I'm just absolutely going to hate it. I'm sorry, man. I didn't do it intentionally, but yeah.
No, actually,
You
I
kinda
didn't
did.
hate Scots, and your first one here was gettable. As long as they stay gettable, I don't mind them.
I hope they are. I think most of these are going to be
Early on, we
fairly
had some
easy.
extremely difficult ones.
I gave this over to Lux to review, and within like 7 minutes, he had read the entire thing, and I would have gotten 95% of them. So I'm like,
Well, yeah,
but
that's David Lux.
That's
That's not a
David.
good
I know,
barometer.
but I'm just
Barometer,
saying,
yeah.
come on.
He was there
I-
when Walter Hagen won all his majors. Okay, like just give him a break.
He caddied for
I was
Walter.
say, wasn't he his caddy?
He was hanging out with Matt at that, if I do recall.
Evidently, yeah. Okay, here we go. So, quarter number 2, question number 1, and fill the more gaps or more of the gaps. In January of 1974, blank traveled to blank, the name of the city or the team, with an undefeated record, having won blank number of games within 5 in a row, including blank within 1 championships in a row. With just 21 seconds left in the game, the underdogs took the lead 71-70. Multiple times in that 21 seconds, the favorites attempted to feed the ball to their big man, blank, but he couldn't score the bucket, and the favorites lost to the last team that they had lost to more than 3 years earlier.
Matt, we'll check in.
All right, Risky Quizness is checked in, ready for Wednesday. You guys can talk it out again.
Okay, so this is UCLA's win streak.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's 88.
Yes.
Big man would have to be Bill Walton for time frame purposes. I can't think of any other big man notable enough to be around by that point.
Correct.
Because he would have got drafted right after that, right? I don't know. He's number 1 overall right after that. Now the question is how many championships they won in a row. I first threw out 10. Now I think we're down to 8.
I think it's 7.
7?
I think it's 67-73 was their run.
I feel like it's more than that. I don't know.
They lost. They didn't win on the years that are before 66 and 74. They didn't win, I do believe. And then so they won a couple before, right before they lost one, did their streak, lost one. I think they won a couple more after that.
Okay, so
I think the streak was 67-73 was for championships. I could be wrong. I don't know for certain.
So if you feel that, you think do we want to go 8 in the off chance? Because we have a range of 1.
Because we have within 1.
So 7 to 9, I feel like that's pretty safe to cover the.
I would be fine with that.
Okay, so we go 8, and then now the question is who they lost to, and I have no idea. I don't know what team to go with. Do you want to just pick a big team and hope for the best, like Kentucky or someone? I don't know.
Yeah, I just throw one out there. I don't really have a good sense on it.
I mean, at least Kentucky would be prominent enough to around that time.
Sure.
So I don't know. I don't know. So
I don't have a feel on some of that other.
Okay, so we're gonna say that UCLA traveled to Kentucky, having won 88 games in a row, including we're gonna go 8 championships to cover what we think, and then the big man is Bill Walton. So that's what we're gonna check in with.
Risky Quizness, what did you guys check in with?
UCLA traveled to blank. We'll build a little suspense. 88 game win streak, 7 national titles in a row. Bill Walton, big man, and it's a basketball powerhouse. Mason, you just picked the wrong one. It's Notre Dame.
Yep. Well, one team is getting 5 points, the other one's getting 4. The answer is, you guys nailed it. It's UCLA, Notre Dame, 88, 7, which you guys said 8, but that's within 1, and Bill Walton. So one team getting 50 points, the other team getting 40.
There was a Walton docu-series on, was it ESPN maybe? It was like a 3 or 4 part thing on Walton, and he talked about this game and how upset he was, and I don't know if he came out that next year. I can't remember, but yeah, 74 NC State won that title. I knew that for sure. That was the David Thompson team. So
all right, sounds good. Moving on to question number 2 and quarter number 2. Here we go. After dominating the 1983 NCAA college football season, blank team entered the blank bowl game with a 12-0 record and faced off against the blank team, who had won 10 in a row. With 48 seconds left, the favorites scored to trail 31-30, but the favorites' head coach, Blank, decided to go for two and failed. The underdogs won the national championship, and Blank was named MVP for that bowl game on his way to being drafted by the Browns in the 1985 NFL Draft. Just to clarify, there was two MVPs in that. There was a defensive and an offensive MVP. He was the offensive MVP. And if you know the defensive MVP, I'll give you like 1 trillion bonus points because I'd never heard this name before.
That is it.
So that's got to be that.
Yep.
Okay.
I agree with that.
And does that play them?
Yes.
Was that the one?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's going to be
Hey Matt, we're gonna check in again.
Okay, Risky Quizzes is
Mason,
checked
stop
in,
talking.
ready for Wednesday. You guys can talk it out.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm sorry I'm trying to talk things out. My bad. I'll wait till the designated time to talk things out. I'll just put myself
We
on
just
mute.
want to
need a
check
hand,
in,
man.
Mason.
We
just
need a
to check
hand
in.
signal,
All
like
right.
a virtual hand signal.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be this. It's shut up, Mason.
Zip it.
It's gonna be a middle finger.
There
Zip
you
it
go. Yeah,
time.
that's a middle finger. I like it.
Okay.
I can't believe you
sorry.
gave us a middle finger, Mason.
Anyway.
That
Actually, it's two. Sorry. Okay.
Double
So
barrel.
anyway, all right, Josh, let's talk this out.
Yes.
Great audio for the podcast. All right, well, I started working back to front here, even though it's not pre and post game, because the person that would have been drafted by the Browns in '85 would be Bernie Kosar, played for Miami.
Yep.
And this is the game they played against Nebraska.
Agreed.
And so the coach would have been
Tom Osborne.
Osborne. And then it's the name of the bowl.
Which
So
bowl
is the
game?
Orange? Because Miami's in it? It's the
That
first thought.
sounds right.
First thought would be.
That I think might be it. Because we're
This
still
just-
now we're back into the one where like the typical
Where the alignment
conference
would work
matchups
out, yeah.
would have been
Yeah.
going to these. That sounds right. I think I'm good with that.
So we're saying that, Nebraska entered Orange Bowl against Miami. Tom Osborne went for two. Bernie Kosar was named MVP.
All right, and ready for Wednesday? Would you guys? I'm sorry. Risky Quizness. Would you guys check in with?
Since Mason ate up all the good audio, we'll just get straight to the answers. We said
You're gonna fire up Mason here. Today, so I like
Love
it.
it. Yeah.
Wait, I don't need to poke the bear here.
Yeah.
We had, Nebraska, the Orange Bowl, Miami, Tom Osborne, and Bernie Kosar.
All right, you guys nailed all 5 of those, both sides. So nailed it. Yep. Being in Nebraska now, you hear about this all the time. They'd be like, "Well, we won 5 national championships, but the one, if we wouldn't have went for 2, we would have won it anyway." It's all these Nebraska people. That's all they talk about, right? It's like, oh my gosh, get over yourselves.
I like the fact that he went for it. Frankly, I mean, like going
Well,
for it.
yeah.
You don't win it with a tie. Like, come on.
No, and
There was no overtime back then, so
I get that. I don't get me wrong. But I mean, they make it sound as if like, it's some sort of great feat. I'm like, okay, great. So the guy went for 2. All right. So what's your point? Anyway, that's my Nebraska bitterness though. So if we could have another episode just about Matt ranting about how stupid Nebraska is, I would love that. So, but yeah, I was loving it this weekend when they lost to UCLA. That was pretty awesome. All right, so 5 points for each team on that one. Moving on to question number 3 here and round number 2. In February of 1990, the boxing world saw what they thought was the biggest mismatch end up being one of the biggest upsets of all time. Blank came into the competition 37-0 and the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Blank was 6 years older and a 42-1 underdog. But the favorite didn't take the upstart seriously when they met in blank, name of the city or the stadium. The favorite did knock down the upstart in the blank round, but the upstart hit the canvas for the first time in his career and was knocked out in the blank round.
Hey, Matt, guess what?
What's that, Eric?
We're going to check in again.
Okay, Risky Quizness is checked in, ready for Wednesday. You guys can talk it out.
Oh, I can. That's good to know. Sorry, I didn't know I could talk things out.
Matt, can you mute Mason, please?
Although Mason, didn't you just tell me you don't really have much to talk out for this one?
Right, so I mean, I can just continue my vow of silence.
Yeah, so
Here, I'm gonna mute myself,
Mason-
Josh. You
Mason's
do-
vow of silence.
sorry, you can chime in with the. Wow, we got a
Mason is
salty
officially
Mason.
muted. He's basically done with all of us.
All right, so this was the Mike Tyson Buster Douglas fight. I do believe it was in Tokyo. You only need the city, right?
Yes.
Although it was probably the Tokyo Dome. But I do believe that Douglas won with a knockout in the 10th round. I don't know what round that Douglas got knocked down. I'm going to guess the 7th.
Okay. And Risky Quizness, what'd you guys check in with?
Yeah, Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas, Tokyo Dome. Also, Walling was sure that it was the 10th round. He was knocked out to finish. And yeah, neither of us were super confident, other than both Walling and I felt like it was pretty early in the fight that Douglas got knocked down. So we just guessed the 3rd round.
Let's go through the answers here, because it was Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas, Tokyo Dome. I was knocked out in the 10th, but he was knocked down. Buster Douglas was knocked down in the 7th.
It was the 7th?
Yeah, you got it right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right.
Ready for Wednesday got all 5 on that one, and Ready for Quizness got 4. All right, so after the 2nd round, we have scores of 260 points for Risky Quizness, and we're Ready for Wednesday at 280. So the difference didn't change, just the point values did. All right, well, some respite here from Fill the Gaps as we move on to halftime.
It is now time for the halftime show. There will be 3 entertainment questions. Each question is worth 25 points.
So, Josh, did a little role reversal here from what your typical halftimes are, and I created a little ChatGPT related action here. So I have a ChatGPT related halftime for you. I asked ChatGPT to write a mostly incorrect summary of a sports themed TV show. So I'm going to give you what they gave me, which is mostly incorrect, but some of it is correct. And I want you to give me the name of the show. Question number 1. A Debbie Downer Canadian football coach unexpectedly finds himself managing a struggling French soccer team despite having little knowledge of the sport. His unshakable pessimism and very conventional coaching style gradually wins over his skeptical players and staff, highlighting the power of negativism and bland football.
Oh, we'll check in.
All right. Hey, for the first time tonight, Ready for Wednesday is checked in. And Risky Quizness, you guys can talk it out.
We don't really need to talk this out, do we? We all know that famous Canadian football miniseries from the folks at Prime Television.
Yep.
Ted Lasso, I believe. Yeah, we'll check in with Ted Lasso.
All right, and Ready for Wednesday, what'd you guys check in with?
Yeah, I'm excited that apparently there's going to be a 4th season.
Have they said that?
Yeah.
Well,
they
Matt,
have.
you just wrote the description of it, right?
Yeah.
Changing coast, changing oceans.
So, yeah, Ted Lasso.
All right, both teams are correct. The answer is Ted Lasso, or as Ted would probably call it, Led Tasso, which was his bizarro character. So,
Right.
All right, so hopefully this isn't too bad. Lux, who read this, was like, I don't understand what in the world you were doing here. This makes no sense to me.
Oh, good. If he didn't
So-
understand it, there's a good chance we
Perfect.
have.
So there you go.
Perfect.
So, all right, question number 2. Taking place in the fictional town of Dillon, Alaska, this show follows the lives of high school bowlers, players, coaches, and their families as they navigate the aggressive and hyper-competitive nature of high school bowling in Alaska. Primary focus is paid to the bowling coach as he works the politics of high school bowling and eventually switches schools.
Matt, we can check in.
All right. Risky Quizness is checked in, ready for Wednesday. You guys can talk it out.
Oh, I get to speak. Sorry. Yes, I'm going to keep doing this until it gets old.
It's the-
Fun. Just wear it out. Then you'll regret doing it again. Dylan in high school is all that is true about this, and I guess the competitive nature of it. Yeah, this is Friday Night Lights.
All right, and Risky Quizness?
It sounds more like Friday Night Kingpin, but we did go with Friday Night Lights.
All right. Both teams got that one correct. It was Friday Night Lights. That one was tough because I think what happened was ChatGPT just read the Wikipedia article and they had like 3 sentences about like, oh, the challenging, the navigating, and the politics and everything. And I'm like, oh, come on, give me something to chew on. But I had to kind of finagle that one. So I think this next one follows Josh, your typical experience when it comes to ChatGPT, because it went off into the futuristic and sci-fi related stuff that you found that it typically
Is there
does. So
time travel?
yeah, I don't know if it has time travel, but but might as well be. So here we go. This show follows a group of retired astronauts who navigate the complexities of life after space travel while trying to launch a new intergalactic sports league. The main character, played by Dwayne Johnson, uses his experience in zero gravity to mentor young athletes on how to perform in extreme conditions. Together, they face challenges from rival planets and the dangers of cosmic fame.
We can check in.
Risky Quizness is checked in, ready for Wednesday. You guys can talk it out.
I am muted for this?
There you go. That's the episode title.
What's the real part of this? Dwayne Johnson?
Yeah, name a sports show with Dwayne Johnson in, apparently, because
Well,
I mean, nothing
this
else has
doesn't
anything
sound
to do with
anything
sports.
like Ballers,
It might be the exact opposite. I don't know.
because that's the only TV show that I know Dwayne Johnson is in.
You gonna check in with that?
I guess we're gonna check. Mason, you good with that?
Sure. I mean, I don't know
Okay.
what this is
We're
getting
gonna-
at, but sure.
We're
Okay.
gonna
Risky Quizness.
check
Would you
in
guys?
with-
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
Ballers. Check it in.
So nobody's gonna call that out of y'all talking over each other, but when it happens to me,
That was terrible.
that was even worse. That was
Yeah,
worse.
way
you're right,
worse.
You're right, Mason. I'll mute myself. for the
Mason,
rest
you've
of the
been
episode.
Thank
All right, Walling, since I think you got this one.
I think the things that are true in here are mentoring a young athlete, launching something, and Dwayne Johnson, which are all proponents of Ballers.
Yep. And the correct answer is Ballers.
I didn't realize they started a new sports league. I thought he was just a agent, and that's all.
So
that's
it
what I
originally
thought.
starts off like as a money manager, and then he's an agent.
Okay.
Then he fights against the NCAA, and then he decides to fight against the NFL. And they decided to start up their new sports marketing / media empire. And then they decided to do their own league. It's a whole million
so
things.
As you can tell by my quizzical nature on this, I've never seen an episode of Ballers either.
Well, I
So-
watched Ballers. I watched every episode multiple times. It was good. I liked it.
I've heard it's good. I just haven't
Well,
seen it.
I'm sorry. Let me set expectations. It's okay. It's fine.
Good with
Sure.
quotes.
Whatever. Yeah.
It's
If you got
fine.
if you got a half an hour to waste and you want to watch Dwayne sitting there hit on some hot chick, then sure, go for it. Whatever. All right. Well, there you go. That's our halftime, and now we'll on to the third quarter. And guess what? Today's
No
third
way.
quarter is going to be fill even more gaps.
Fill the gaps. This quarter will consist of 3 questions with up to 5 pieces of missing information. The teams will attempt to fill in each piece of missing information. Each answer is worth 10 points.
Oh, this was FEMG. Okay. Fill
FEMG.
even more gap. So
Fill
we had
even more gap.
FFTG, then we had FMG, now we have FEMG. Okay, good.
Man, I wish Louisiana's infrastructure would take note and fill all of the gaps in the roads, much as we're filling in gaps tonight.
Sorry,
All right.
we in the upper Midwest will feel your pain.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, here we go. The FIFA Women's World Cup started play in 1991 with the U.S. victorious over Norway. 4 years later, Norway would beat Germany in the final match, But in 1999, the host country, blank, took on blank and the world famous blank name of the stadium. After regulation time and overtime had expired, the teams were tied at blank to blank. The game came down to penalty kicks, and the home team manager selected the final kick should be taken by the defender, who had previously been cut by the team and who missed a PK against the same team just 4 months earlier. But instead of folding under the pressure, blank kicked a goal with her left foot to the top right of the goal and then had one of the most memorable celebrations in sports history. So I need the name. You guys got that? I need the name of the host city who was also playing in the game, who they played against, the stadium they played in, what the score was tied at, but when it went to PKs, and who kicked the winning goal. And Josh, look at this. It's 9:22. We're killing it with time. We're like an hour and 15 into this.
That is not a good reason to do 3 field goals.
I love you.
Now the question is, how is he going to do fourth quarter fill the gaps? That's going to be the interesting
it's
part.
not. No fourth quarter fill the gaps. I promise.
Yes, because what else? So we're looking for the 2 teams.
Mhm.
Yeah, USA. What was
2
it? Host
teams
versus what other thing? Sorry, whatever. doesn't
Well,
matter.
yeah, Mason.
Wait,
Two
wait.
teams,
Whoa,
stadium.
I will mute
Spoiler,
myself.
Mason. He
tied.
muted himself.
I'm done. I'm done. Go ahead.
That's
And
all right.
Sorry.
I
Didn't
mean,
come from
I don't
us.
think it's
Didn't
a
come from
spoiler
us.
for the other team. Oh, no!
Mason just
Mason,
left.
come back.
No,
We
no.
need your help.
I think he said he had. Oh no.
Okay, so we need the 2 teams, the stadium, the score when it was tied, and who
Mhm.
made the
The winning
final
kick.
kick to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree. So far,
Mhm. I bet everyone agrees about what I
okay.
said.
So you want me to fill in the rest of those gaps? So you're being like Louisiana right now and not filling all the gaps. You're just
we
filling
just
some
fill
of them?
in we just fill in one, but not very well. Just one. We just pour some tar and say call it a day. And it's gonna be bad by tomorrow anyway. So
You good with it, Mark?
Yeah.
All right, we'll check in.
Risky Quizness checked in, ready for Wednesday. You guys can talk it out.
I got
Well,
nothing.
so yes, U.S. and I'm pretty sure it was China.
And the stadium would be what's the name of their
don't-
stadium? I have no idea. What the famous?
Where did they play it?
Famous.
In?
The world famous Chinese stadium that we don't know the name of.
No. This was hosted by the U.S. It was in the U.S. I thought.
See, I can't even read now at this point. Okay. Well, world famous stadium in the U.S. There's a lot of those. I don't know where it was.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where it was played.
The
Rose Bowl,
Coliseum?
maybe?
I don't. Yeah. Okay. Well, at least we're in the same ballpark. I don't know where they would have played it.
I don't know. Oh, so then we have Brandy Chastain. I'm not sure what the score was. I mean, was it like 1-1, 2-2,
Maybe it was your favorite score, 0-0.
0-0?
It's your favorite soccer score of all time.
I mean, it is.
I doubt it.
I doubt it was 0-0. The U.S. was pretty darn good. Oh,
It was
still are.
2-2? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how high scoring it was. I remember the moment. That's it. I don't think I've seen
Yeah.
any other part of that game other than your guess is as good as mine. And then stadium, go with whatever you want. If you want to go, you said, what, Rose Bowl? Sure. I don't know. We have an outdoor stadium, famous one. Makes sense to put it there.
Yeah, okay. So we're going with U.S., China. We're gonna say Rose Bowl because that's a pretty famous one.
Yeah, it's very famous.
You know what? Let's go with my favorite, 0-0, because I
Ooh.
don't have any other really good flavor on that. Let's just go with it. I love the
Sure.
good 0-0 game. And
Okay.
Brandy Chastain.
Yep.
That was all the things you were asking for, right?
I
Yes,
think
sir.
so.
All right, check those in.
And ready, Risky Quizness. What'd you guys check in with?
I think we're basically in the same boat as them. Certain it's USA, China. I'm certain it's the Rose Bowl. Certainly Brandy Chastain. The score, not certain of. I think it was 1-1, and that's what we ended up checking in with. Could have been 0-0. I don't think it was. Could have been 2-2 as well, but we ended up checking it with 1-1. So USA, China, Rose Bowl, 1-1, Brandy Chastain.
All right. Well, yes, you guys were right. It is USA versus China, was played at the Rose Bowl, was Brandy Chastain, but it was Josh's favorite score, 0-0. Yeah. The defensive struggle. So,
Oh God.
Pays off.
there you go. I remember watching that game live. I lived in Shawano, Wisconsin, and it was a crazy story. My life was wild back then. Well, it's a little wild now. Anyway, point is that yeah. So I remember watching that live on my like a little tiny TV set that I had, 99 with rabbit ears, kind of a deal, and so that was pretty awesome watching that.
Likewise, I was at a party. I just at the Walling. I'm like, I just can't remember the score. I mean, I feel like it was like July 4th too. Possibly.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember I was living in Atlanta at the time at a party with a bunch of friends, and so yeah.
All right. Moving on to question number 2 here in quarter 3. Fill the gaps. There have been some very memorable Major League Baseball walk-off moments, but what happened in the fall of blank had only happened once before. With a series at 3-2 between the Blue Jays and the Phillies, the series headed back to blank, name of the city or stadium. In the bottom of the 9th, blank hit a walk-off 3-run home run off of the Phillies closer blank to become the second person ever to end a World Series on a home run. The first to do it was blank with the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 1960 Fall Classic. So basically, I'm looking for the year that this took place in, the city or stadium that it took place in, who hit the home run, who did he hit it off of, and who was the first person to do this feat.
We'll check in.
Risky Quizness is checked in, ready for Wednesday. You guys can talk it out.
I think you're right with 93. I think it is.
Okay.
Because obviously the Blue Jays won in 92 and 93, but I think it was
Right,
93.
Yeah.
Um,
And then, just ask for the city. We don't need the stadium then. So we just say Toronto?
yeah.
Okay. We don't have to give the
I can't remember what the
Sky,
dome was.
Sky
Well,
Dome.
that's probably what it was. I think
I
that's
wasn't
what it was
going to
originally.
make you guys go through the machinations of the different
Of
names
what?
and the stuff, so I just said,
Oh,
Yeah.
screw that stadium stuff. Just go with tell me whatever you
Yep.
want to tell me.
Yeah, so we have
Yeah. Okay, so the order would
93.
be 93, Toronto,
Toronto, Joe Carter, Mitch Williams,
and then Mazeroski.
Bill Mazeroski, right?
Yep, I'm good with that.
All right. Check those in.
All right. And Risky Quizness, what'd you guys check in with?
So I was just reminiscing with Mark that in the Apocalypse Meisterschaft, they had a question about walk-off home runs, and I couldn't pull. I pulled or walk-off hits to end a World Series after 1990, and I pulled Luis Gonzalez right away, and then my brain shut down, and I didn't remember Joe Carter, and so it's a fresh trivia wound that I went back in and rehearsed. So I remembered it was 93, Toronto, Joe Carter, Wild Thing, Mitch Williams, and Bill Mazeroski.
All right. Both teams are getting all of the points. You guys nailed it. It was Team USA China Rose Bowl. Oh, no, wait. 1993 Toronto Sky Dome, Joe Carter, Mitch Williams, and Bill Mazeroski. Anytime I can get a Bill Mazeroski question in there, I like that guy.
You mean to tell me Brandy Chastain didn't hit a walk-off home run?
I
against
know.
China?
I was so shocked by it.
They didn't give her a shot.
Mm-hmm. So it was so funny. I passed this by Lux, and he kept on saying like it wasn't Game 7, it was Game 6, and I'm like, no. I kept on going. It was tied 3-3, and he's like, no, I'm saying that was game, and I look it up. I'm like, oh, he was right. So I'm a jerk. All right, look at that. Everyone's nailing it here in the third quarter. We'll move on to question number 3 and fill even more gaps. This one's a little bit wordy. Sorry. Here we go. Let's skip the old-timey stuff and find something more recent to chew on. In Week 8 of the 2024 NFL season, the Chicago Bears traveled to suburban Washington, D.C. to face the Commanders in what is now a classic game for those who enjoy seeing Bears fans suffer. With time winding down in the fourth quarter, the Chicago Bears quarterback, Blank, led his team down to the field and take a 3-point lead with a rushing touchdown by Blank, with just 25 seconds left in the game. The Commanders got the ball back and completed one pass to give their offense a little opportunity for the rookie quarterback, Blank, to throw a Hail Mary. After the Bears' defensive back, Blank, decided to taunt the fans, he ran over to the play in progress and tipped the ball into the waiting hands of the Commanders' wide receiver, Blank. And I would love to read that over again so that all the Bears fans who are listening can absolutely relive this over and over and over. And if you didn't want to listen to it, then just watch my social media feed, because every time it pops up, I'll post about it. Because screw you, Bears fans. Josh, something you and I can agree on.
Mm-hmm.
So
We'll
do you guys
check
want me
it.
to... Sorry, do that again, please.
Oh, wait a minute.
Matt,
Sorry.
don't talk over Mason like
wait,
that.
Come on now. Come on now.
Easy.
We're checking in.
Oh, all right. So, ready for Wednesday as checked in. Risky Quizness. You guys can talk it out.
Is that their other running back?
Yeah, Roshan Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah,
That sounds right. to me
Lucky
as well.
Johnson. Oh, okay. So for sure, Kayla Williams, Roshan Johnson, Jaden Daniels. I'll think
Idiot
of it.
number 29. I
Idiot
can't
number
remember.
29.
I can't remember his name though.
I'll think of it.
Write
It's
that
in
down.
here somewhere. And then I remember the wide receiver because it's a former Cowboy great, Noah Brown.
What's
And it
funny
made
is
me
the
jump
guy-
up at the table.
Yeah, the guys I was hanging out with last night, one of them was a huge Commanders fan. They're his favorite team. It makes no sense. Actually, it makes sense to him, but we were talking about this, and he's like, I have watched that Hail Mary like 75,000 times because I can't get enough of it.
It's Stevenson. Tyreek Stevenson was the guy.
That sounds right.
That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I remember him going on Twitter with his unverified account and apologizing right after that. So, so can't even pay the $5 a month as a NFL player. That's crazy. So Williams, Johnson, Daniels, Stevenson, Brown.
And ready for Wednesday? What'd you guys check in with?
Yeah, I was watching this with my brother-in-law when it happened at his house, and yeah, hard to forget that. But yeah, we picked the same 5 generic last names because they all just happen to be very generic last names of Williams, Johnson, Daniels, Stevenson, and Brown. You just guessed those 5 and got it right. But
It's
Yeah.
another
Heck
law
of a
firm,
law
right?
firm.
Yeah.
so that's what we checked in as well.
All right. Yes, you guys are nailed all 5 of them. That's why I thought I'd put something a little more current. The way I got to a lot of these was Googling kind of like infamous, sports events or like famous sports events. And I thought, you know what, let's put something new in here. So, and plus, a little dagger to the Bears fans. So it was Caleb Williams, Roshan Johnson, Jaden Daniels, Tyreek Stevenson, and Noah Brown. Is Tyreek Stevenson still with the Bears, or did they drop his ass?
I think
They
he got.
benched him.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he got demoted this week.
Yeah.
Oh, shocker!
Yeah, well, he still played, and I think it was field goal or punt. He had a penalty, and they kept bringing it up about the Hail Mary, but like he had a penalty or something. It was a big penalty at the time. They're like, "Oh yeah, and last week when he was," but yeah, and I think he got kicked out of a meeting or something. Like he left practice early because the coaches some rumor was going around that something happened. So it was but that's what I heard.
All right. So after the third quarter, we have a score of Risky Quizness at 475 and Ready for Wednesday at 505. And that will take us to the fourth quarter.
The fourth quarter, known as Put Your Fours Up. This quarter consists of 4 categorized questions that teams will wager up to 100 points each, not to exceed their current point total.
Today's categories for the fourth quarter are as follows. Question number 1, an NFL list. Question number 2, kind of an NBA list. Question number 3, Olympics / college sports list. And question number 4, a Big Four list. It's now time for the teams to place their wagers.
We'd like to take a minute to invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at BenchwarmersTP. We also have a Facebook group for fans of the pod called The Bench. Join us there to comment on the latest episodes and share cool sports facts and trivia. If you'd be willing to rate and review us on iTunes or Stitcher, we'd greatly appreciate the support so that other people may find this podcast. Thanks!
Now that the wagers are in, on to the questions. Question number 1. There are 3 NFL quarterbacks who played for 8 or more teams. One has a BTP episode titled after him, or was it his brother? Another is known for magical facial hair, and the other is so boring that nothing came up when I Googled fun facts about him. Give me the 2 of the 3 names of those quarterbacks.
We'll check in.
Risky Quizness is checked in, ready for Wednesday. You guys can talk it out.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt them, so I was letting them finish. It'd be rude of me to interrupt. I'm a reformed man. I've changed my ways.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
No, you're welcome.
No, you're welcome.
The rest of the episode now. Okay, so I think we have all 3. I sent the first 2, but the second and third one, because I didn't want to think about which brother it is, although I'm pretty sure we know which one it is. But the magical facial hair is Fitzpatrick, and the guy that I'm pretty sure is so boring no one has any fun facts about him is JT O'Sullivan. Because the only thing I know about him is that he played for a bunch of teams. I couldn't tell you anything else about him other than I know that's a fact. So imagine there's nothing else interesting about him in his life that shows up on Google when Matt searched it. There might be, but who knows? And we think the other one's Josh McCown. But to not worry about Josh or Luke or the fictional Cade McCown, that was brought up during that episode. Yeah, he put McNown for Cade McNown. So I'm like, no, it was the McCown dilemma.
Yeah, it's the other one that's almost that. Yeah.
So, we're going to check in with Fitzpatrick and O'Sullivan for 100 points.
And Risky Quizness, what'd you guys answer?
We had Fitzpatrick for the magical facial hair. We also had the McCown dilemma, which I think Mason and I might have been teammates on that game.
Maybe.
We said the boring guy was the guy who's played for the most NFL teams, though, and we checked in with Josh Johnson and Ryan Fitzpatrick for 100 points.
Well, neither team is getting their points on this one. That is correct. The answer is Josh McCown, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Brian Hoyer, who has played for the most teams. He's played for 9 teams. I don't know about Josh Johnson. I don't know how many he's played for.
He's been on 14.
I'll say I thought JT O'Sullivan was on like 10 or 11. So
yeah.
Maybe they didn't play for those teams. They were just sitting on the bench and didn't actually.
It must
is that
be
the distinction. Maybe
because he's definitely been on the whole thing of him last year was he broke whatever record when he got to his 14th
maybe counted
team.
like being in the off season or being on a practice squad. This is like on like an active roster.
Yeah, neither of us get it, so nobody's not
fine. Yeah.
When I trust me, I Googled multiple sources to find this, and they said that this was So it's Brian Hoyer has 9, Fitzpatrick and McCown have 8 each, and then there's like about 7 that have 7. So so both teams got that one wrong.
If we would gone with the Josh McCown, we would have been.
Yeah,
fine.
we both had the other 2.
I thought for sure when you guys started to go into Josh Johnson that you were going to say Hoyer, so I already marked it as positive. So
especially when you said you were going to potentially prompt for a first name, that locked in the fact that Johnson was going to be a right answer.
Oh no, he was going to say that for the first. I figured that was for Josh versus.
It was. You're right, Josh. Yeah. Brian Hoyer's the one who I Googled, and there is no fun facts about Brian Hoyer. I could not find anything about him.
I'm guessing there isn't for JT O'Sullivan.
Probably not either.
Or Josh Johnson. I guess.
You're probably right. So, all right. So let's move on to question number 2. I love getting random texts from people that I haven't heard from in a while about sports related stuff. So, all right, question number 2. There are 6 cities that have both a Major League Baseball and NFL team, but no NBA team. When I showed this to David, he pointed out that 4 of those cities previously had NBA teams. I would like you to name all 6 of these cities.
Hey, Matt.
Yes, Eric?
I'll wait until Mason starts talking it out, and then we'll check it in.
Mason's going to rage quit this episode and the entire podcast because Eric's a dick.
Ooh.
Sorry, I apologize to the fans.
No, sorry, my bad.
To the Mason fans.
Mason, have you ever swore on an episode?
You want me to?
No, I'm asking if you ever have.
I mean, I can. We can do it now. I don't think I have, but we can do it now.
Didn't they check in? And
They haven't checked in, no.
oh, I thought they did check in.
Oh,
We
are
did-
you
we
checking
did
in,
check
guys?
Yeah, we
They
checked.
did check in.
No, he said he was going to wait until Mason spoke
yeah,
to check in. So,
No.
okay. All right. So, Risky Quizness is checked in, ready for your Wednesday. You guys can talk it out.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for letting us speak.
Yes.
Finally.
Thank you.
Matt, we're going to check in.
No, Mason's going to quit.
No, I need Mason still
Okay.
to talk this
All
one
right,
out,
well.
so I think
I'm
we
getting
might
closer
have.
to dropping it. That's fine.
So
That's fine.
Kansas City,
Yep.
yep,
Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Baltimore.
and it's Baltimore because the Bullets are in DC or whatever, right? They're
Right,
not.
yeah, it's not Baltimore anymore.
I think
Seattle.
So Seattle. I think I got the last one. I think it's Tampa Bay. They don't have there's no basketball team in
Right.
the Tampa area.
Yeah, so yeah, the A's are not technically Las Vegas yet. So
They're-
they would be.
They
but-
would be right, but they are not. I think they're just. I don't even know if they have a city name anymore. I don't even
They're
know
homeless.
if
They're just the A's. They just move around. They're
yeah,
not.
because
they don't have-
they're going to be in Sacramento for 3 years, but they're not going to be the Sacramento A's, but they're not the Oakland A's, and they're not the Las Vegas A's.
They're the artist formerly known as the Oakland A's. Is that how they're going to go by?
So but we have 6 without them, right? Because Kansas City,
Right.
Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Seattle, and Tampa.
Right, and all of those have had NBA franchises except Tampa Bay.
I guess technically, if you're saying cities, right? Technically, the city is Tampa, not Tampa Bay. 'Cause
Right, but that's the only
Yes.
one out of the 6 that. So 4 out of the 6 had NBA.
I said
teams.
4
Okay,
out of
so
the
Kansas,
6.
Okay, so Kansas City, Cincinnati, what am I looking? Seattle and Baltimore, right?
Yeah, Baltimore had the Bullets.
Yeah, Bullets. Yeah, okay. So yeah, and Pittsburgh didn't. They had an ABA team, I think.
So Pittsburgh and Tampa are the 2 that
Right.
didn't. Okay, so
Okay.
do you got our 6 there? Or do you want us to say them again?
Nope, you got it. I got it. We're good.
All right, check those in.
Okay.
All right. And Risky Quizness, which ones did you check in with?
We checked in with the exact same. We each got 3 of them independently. Eric immediately typed me Kansas City, hometown question there, and Tampa, and then I typed Seattle, Cincinnati, Baltimore, and then he typed Pittsburgh. And yeah, Pittsburgh did not have an NBA team, neither did Tampa. And the other ones did. So yeah,
Sorry,
Kansas
I didn't
City,
ask
Tampa,
how much you guys each wagered for.
100.
And Mark?
100.
Yep. All right. Both teams are getting their points. The answers are Pittsburgh, Seattle. Sorry, Marcus. Tampa, Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. And I think, Josh, you kind of nailed it there when you talked about the 4 that used to, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. Cool. Question number 3. Here we go. This says in the category of Olympics/college sports list. I have a list of the top 6 NCAA schools who have produced the most amount of Olympic medals through the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Give me 4 of those 6. 4 of the schools are from a recently defunct conference, while the other 2 are known for a recent conference move and a recent football championship.
We'll check in.
We're ready for Wednesday has quickly checked in. And risky quizness, you guys can talk it out.
I think we're pretty close here, right?
Yeah. Stanford, Texas, USC. Those three I feel pretty solid on. I think it's probably UCLA, but I also think Michigan
I think Michigan
is
has to
the
be
recent
the
football one.
yeah.
Because they have a ton of like gymnasts and track athletes, and winter. They have hockey players and
Yeah.
stuff like that too. So there's definitely a lot of crossover there. And the other ones are more summer,
Yeah.
strictly summer.
I think I mean if based on the football clue and the fact that they have sports in both, would you rather go Michigan than UCLA or
I think so, yeah.
okay. So Stanford, Texas, USC, Michigan then?
Southern Cal, USC, not
Oh, sorry.
not the real
Sorry.
US, not the more important USA.
Yeah. All right. So Stanford, Texas, the University of Spoiled Children, and Michigan
For how many points?
for 100.
All right. And ready for Wednesday, would you guys check in with and for how many points?
Yeah, we pretty much had the same names bouncing around. The first three I sent were the non-Marc USC, UCLA, and Stanford. The school that had a recent conference move would be Texas, recent football championships, Michigan. We think the sixth one is either Cal or Oregon, leaning towards Cal. So it makes more sense because Oregon's mostly track stuff. So the four we went with were University of Southern California, UCLA, Stanford, and Texas for 71 points.
All right. Both teams are getting their points. The answers are USC, Stanford, UCLA, Cal, Texas, and Michigan. So, yeah. I like the Michigan was the last one with 71, and just behind it was with 69 points or 69 medals total is Florida. And I like to
Nice.
think of like, yeah, nice, exactly. I like to think of, without Michael Phelps, that Michigan number would be way lower. So, yeah.
Wait, he went to Michigan? I actually didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. I'm right.
No, you
Yeah.
could.
I
I'm not saying you're wrong. I
didn't
just did not
Southern
know.
one? I did
didn't
not
know
know
that.
that either.
I'm like, hold on a second now.
I know he's
I'm
from
like 90%
he's from
sure.
Baltimore. Like he's
I mean, he very well could have gone there.
absolutely, yeah.
All right. Well, it is an interesting game right now because with your 71 points, ready for Wednesday is ahead by 1 point with 576 and 575 over there for Risky Quizness, taking us to the final question. Not the penultimate, which I always like to say after the penultimates happen. Question number 4 in the fourth quarter. Championship droughts are a frequent point of conversation. The Cubs' 108-year drought was ended in 2016. Please name 3 of the 4 franchises who have the longest active drought in one of the big 4 leagues, i.e., I want you to name the baseball team who has gone the longest since their last World Series win, the NFL team with the longest championship drought, etc., etc. You need to give me 3 of the 4 in the big 4. So I need 1 football team, 1 basketball team, 1 baseball team, or 1 hockey team, and I need 3 of them.
I'm pretty confident on that one. Yeah,
That is 3 franchises,
they are.
and I think we can check in.
Risky
That
Quizness is checked in, ready for Wednesday. You guys can talk it out.
Josh? Okay. Let's make sure you're still there.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of
I'm the one that's supposed to be muted here. What are we talking about?
no, I wasn't muted, I just wasn't talking.
Okay.
Sam Darnold just got sacked again, Mason. Josh is distracted. Just kidding.
I mean, that keeps happening, sure. Okay.
I'm almost certain that the Guardians are the Major League Baseball and that the Cardinals are the NFL.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I initially thought Lions, but if you're pretty confident it's further back.
Yeah, this is something I've heard recently, and it might have been on one of those TikTok ones that Matt was even referencing. Like this, there've been the Guardians one. I think maybe even was a question in one of our games not too long ago about the longest drought for MLB.
Okay.
But yeah, Cardinals, and I think the Cardinals is by like about 10 years, I think, over the Lions.
Lions are like
Um,
mid 50s. I know that. Somewhere around there. Like 57-ish, somewhere around there.
NBA,
But
Kings or Hawks. I lean Kings, but I don't know for sure. But then when I was thinking about the NHL, I think the Maple Leafs are the longest drought.
okay, how
I
long
think
have
that's
they
another one
gone?
I've heard. Huh?
How long have they gone since
The
winning?
60s?
Okay, that feels pretty safe then. No, I didn't know what the time frame was for that. Yeah. So yeah, almost 60
I mean,
years. Imagine.
it's one that, everybody just keeps feeling bad whenever they, lose in the playoffs, even when they're like, a highly seeded team, and that it's been like, I think since like the 60s, I think.
Okay.
So if we want, since I'm not sure on I feel most comfortable with Guardians, Cardinals, Maple Leafs, just because I think Kings probably, but it could be the Hawks. I think they both have pretty long droughts.
Yeah, I imagine so. I don't I don't have a preference between them. I don't have any strong
But we only
inklings
need
for it.
three of the four. So if we want to go
So
with Guardians, Cardinals, Maple
Cardinals,
Leafs,
that's fine by me.
all right, let's check those in for 100 points.
All right. And Risky Quizness, what'd you guys check in with?
Yeah, the first thing I typed was the Guardians. It's like the late 40s, 47, 48, something like that last time they won. I also typed Lions to Mr. Walling, but he quickly corrected me that it is the Cardinals, that he saw that when the Rangers won the World Series, that the Cardinals is the NFL team. And yeah, you can count me as not one of the people who feels bad when the Maple Leafs lose. I think it's hilarious that they think that they're the God's gift to hockey, and I don't. I think it's like 58 or 59. What was the last time they won?
Yeah,
And I'm pretty
that far
sure it
back.
was
Yeah.
still
I thought it was
original.
in the 60s somewhere, but
I thought it was still original six. I mean, they've only been in the Stanley Cup Finals like twice since then too. It was like they lost to the Kings in '90, or no, that wasn't even in the finals. That was like it's just like look up their playoff history recently. It's just like incredible how pathetic the Leafs have been, and they keep signing superstars, and they claim that people want to play there. So, yeah, Cardinals, Guardians, Leafs for 100 points. In the NBA, we weren't sure either. We bandied around the Kings, and I thought maybe the Clippers. If we had to name all four, I think we probably would have said the Kings, but we weren't sure about that. So.
Well, both teams are getting their points. The answers are in the NHL. The Toronto Maple Leafs, 56 years. They won in the 1966-67 season. They beat the Montreal Canadiens in that one. That was the those few years after they did the second six from like 61 to like late 60s, early 70s, where they didn't do like conferences or something like that. They kind of just did like a mishmash weird thing. NBA was the Sacramento Kings. And baseball was the Cleveland team. Was 76 years. Sacramento Kings are 71 years. Cleveland 76 years, and the Arizona Cardinals also at 76 years. So there you go. So both teams getting their 100 points. So that means finishing with 575 points, very respectable, is Risky Quizness. But our clipboard captains of the game who are receiving the coveted Malik Willis, my current favorite backup quarterback, award with 676 points is ready for Wednesday. Yay!
Yay.
Hooray.
All right, so Mark, you seem like you're on every other week anyway, so you're like one of us. So we might as well just, is there
Yep.
anything else you would like to mention on this episode, Mark? Since it's been like 5 minutes since you were here last time.
Yeah. What was it? Was this
What's
episode
going on?
282?
This
I've
is
been on,
282 right
yeah,
now.
I've been on
Yeah.
like 274 of them, right? Something
And
like that.
pretty much.
So,
Or
Yeah.
mentioned.
You've been on. You probably hosted more
I think he's
episodes
been
than I
mentioned on
have.
300
probably.
of them.
Yeah.
that's always
That's
a lot of
right.
fun. Always a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I have to say. Congratulations to Mason and Josh. Great job.
All right. Well, on behalf of Mason, who didn't rage quit, evidently he's still here, so he's not going to quit us anytime soon.
Should have.
Josh, you should have many a times. That's one of my games. I didn't even do anything.
No, it wasn't your fault. It was just all the other stuff I had to do.
Josh and Eric, and for Mark, I'd like to say thanks for listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, and until next time, we'll keep the bench warm. And DavosDelights.com. Check your taint as the as the promo code. So go check it out.
The snacks I had
stuff.
while we were playing were very delicious. So any of their Pop-Tart things, and I'm sure anything they make is delicious. So just order it all.
That Davos tart thing, it's like a small cake that has like layers of oh, I so desperately want to get one of those. So all right, thanks everyone.
That ball hit high and deep. Stretch! Get on back there. They look up. You can put it on the board. Yes!
Into deep left center for Mitchell. And we'll see you tomorrow night.
That great music you're listening to is by Justin Nozick. Thanks to him for producing that music for us. You've been listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. Make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We are at Benchwarmers TP.